Good morning, guys. So today you can see I am here back working. Got a car up on the lift. It is not the one you'd probably expect to be up on the lift first. That car's next. I wanted to get this car on the lift and go over a couple things after the last race, just make sure everything was good. One thing for sure is that the transmission fluid definitely burnt. So that was my main motivation for putting this thing up here, was to drain the trans and put some fresh fluid in there. I don't know how well the converter's draining. Obviously not too well. I don't have a drain on the converter, so kind of is what it is there. But as long as I can get like, I don't know, 70% of the fluid out and put new fluid in, I am happy. You can see the fluid right here. Yeah, if you know transmission fluid, you know that that's cooked. You can see some metal in there, but that is what it is. We are definitely hitting this trans pretty hard, and there's no real way to keep it from doing that. But she is cooking along, still doing really well. These are still the original clutches and stuff as far as I remember from when we first put this trans in. We've had it gone through a couple times, but everything looked good enough to where we didn't feel the need to swap to two new clutches. So just gonna drain this thing as much as possible and then put some fresh fluid in there, and then we can get the Mustang up here and get that transmission out. And maybe the dogs will help. Do you guys want to help? No? Any interest? What's up, guys? Do I smell like trans fluid? I don't like the smell either. Burnt trans fluid. Right, Millie? I wanted to thank you guys so much for all the views and the support on the Sick Week content. That video series was awesome. Huge thank you as well to the sponsors, Texas Speed, UPR, Motion Raceworks, Boost District. Without those guys, we would definitely have not been able to go to that event or race at all. So huge thank you to them. So if you need any of those parts, definitely go check them out. So I drained both transmissions fluids today. One is way nicer looking than the other. So this came from the Mustang. It's still nice and bright red. This one came from the Camaro. I was cleaning it all off because the first time the transmission failed, it sprayed fluid underneath and got it really gross. So I used some super clean and just a spray bottle, and then sprayed it down with water after to try to get as much off as possible. It definitely works pretty well, and then I'll just mop this up once it dries, or sweep it up, whatever. Usually just sweeps up after that. It doesn't really stay that bad. I kind of got these built-in drainages, but I'm trying to let it all drain out, let it drain overnight. Maybe the converter will drain back a little bit. There's probably another half a quart now sitting in here, so definitely plenty of fluid. That's not our issue. The fluid's not even burnt at all. Like the fluid in this, let's see if you can kind of see, like that's still really nice. And then the fluid in the Camaro, yeah, not so nice. That's why it needed some fresh fluid. So time to pull that transmission out and see what the deal is. All right, let's do a little shifter linkage confirmation here. Make sure that it had it in the correct gears. So first gear all the way back. And then you go down. And it should be basically loose in each gear. So see right there, like it would come in and out, no issue. You can kind of see it. I'm not gonna take it out because I gotta take the pin out to do that, and then I won't be able to put it into second easily. So loose, that would fall right out if I just pushed it. It is not tense in any spot. Now, put it in second gear. Millie, I don't think you're really knowledgeable in transmissions, so I don't know if you need to be in this conversation. She's mad now. So second gear. Let's see. So still just as loose in second gear. It would come right out. So to me, that confirms that shifter linkage is good in both gears pretty well. So no debate there. Shifter linkage was good. So now to finish on doing this. All right, so time to pull out a transmission. So you guys kind of already saw this. Exhaust off, drive shaft out, converter unbolted, I don't know, shifter linkage, everything like that. Just start unplugging things until things happen and things aren't hooked up anymore. Pretty simple. Probably gonna take a header off because it is really tough to get this out without pulling a header off. I'll probably take the driver side off. This is pretty entertaining too. Notice that. Yep. Don't know when that happened. Probably midway through my drive. It did start to feel a little louder. Pretty solid exhaust leak. Is what it is. I've already talked about how I want to V-band the whole thing. Love these clamps. Yeah, so pull all that apart. And I also wanted to talk about you guys that work and have dogs. Do you guys just let your dogs like hang out? Because I'm trying a new thing where I just let my dogs hang out while I work, and they usually are crazy and trying to get me to like play with them the whole time, but starting to learn how to let them just like sit and hang without me having to entertain them. They're doing pretty good. Right, Millie? What do you think, Jess? Luna is inside. The back door is just open, so she did not want to come and hang out, but they do enjoy hanging out. No, we're not playing. You guys are just hanging out. You can play with each other. So, trying to teach them how to be shop dogs. Right? That lazy tail wag, Jess. What is that? All right, well, transmission is out. Go through a couple things here, figure out a couple things, clean up under here a little bit more. Definitely helps a lot to unbolt this header, but probably be a lot easier just to pull it off all the way. The V-band definitely does not help. V-bands are great and they suck all at once. Another like maybe 3 quarts of trans fluid sitting on the floor, so that means there was a lot in there. That was mostly from the converter, but I'm sure a lot of it came out the front as the converter. Yeah, I guess that was probably all from the converter. But time to get this thing off of here. Probably pull off a couple of my things like this and the transmission mount, the drain and the mount, and bring it over to the shop again. Bring it over to the transmission shop that went through it before sick week, well, day 1 of sick week, and see what he says. He'll pull it apart, tell me what the deal is, and we can fix it. That's the goal. I don't really care about any other drama besides a working car. So that's really my only concern. Let's get this thing back. Converter looks pretty good still, so that's good. I already dropped the transmission back off at the builder. He pulled the pump out right in front of me, and we found out the issue right away. So Powerglide pumps have 2 like O-ring seals that go on the inside of the pump. So like the interior Powerglide side, I guess you would call it. And they seal pressure onto high gear in a way. They seal the fluid onto high gear, and that one got pinched when the pump was going in. So it was basically an issue right from the start. Like as soon as high gear was in, there was a fluid draining by, probably in both first and second gear. So he's gonna go through it, fix all that stuff, and you know, make an improvement. The band is destroyed and the drum for high gear is destroyed, so new ones of those. But I pulled up like a photo of what it looks like here. So this is what like a Powerglide pump looks like. There's those 2 orange rings on basically every pump I've ever seen, at least. And one of them was just pinched and ruined. So that caused all of our issues. Super simple, like 25-cent piece probably caused all that. And I guess it is what it is. So he's gonna fix it and we can get back to ripping. So it won't be too bad, honestly. Should be a pretty simple deal and we can be back going pretty quick. So I got a lot of other stuff I want to do first, and by the time I finish all that other stuff up, the power glide should be done by the end of this week, and we can get this car back on the road. Do an oil change, go over a couple things. There's not really much I need to do. There's a couple like little things, but nothing like major. The only big thing that needs to happen on this car is a cage and a better driver's seat. Passenger seat's fine. Driver's seat definitely needs to be replaced because I want a safer one and something that holds me a little better. So cage, driver's seat, transmission back in, and then we can go see what it does. So everything else felt good. The tune felt great. Every other system really did fine. Like cooling system, it never got hot. Braking system, obviously I had the one caliper fall off, but other than that, other than a loose bolt, it wasn't really an issue. So that's not too bad. Fueling, never an issue. Like supercharger stuff, never an issue. Cooling on the supercharger, not an issue. So like everything else worked really well, I'll be honest. And like I didn't have an issue with wiring. Realistically, it did like, you know, 8 out of 10 on the systems failing. The only stuff that kind of did fail was that out of my control, and then like the exhaust kind of falling out, and a couple nuts and bolts here and there, which honestly for a car like this, not that surprised. So now that it's on the lift and I have some time, I can go through and put my hands on everything and make sure everything's tight, and next time it's at the track, should be good. Get an alignment, get some wheels balanced, and this thing should be really good to go after all this. So I'm pretty pumped. Happy that it wasn't something that I could have, you know, caused or fixed or done on the road. Like there was no issue there. It was all just the simplest of little parts. So not too bad. I can live with that. Well, as you guys probably know, I took some parts off the 240 when I needed them last minute. One of those parts, the only part that's going back on the 240, is these fuel injectors. So these are some 850s. They're probably a little too small, like not a whole lot too small, but a little too small for this car. So we are switching over to some fresh 1000s. I got these from Boost District. The guys have been helping me out a lot, so got that from them. And these 1000s should be enough for our inevitable power goals with ethanol and, you know, maybe even a little nitrous or something if we ever get to that point. But these should be a lot better. I think those 850s would be maxed out on ethanol. I do want to add a flex fuel sensor. That's on my list of things to do, but just not really a huge part of it. But I need to swap those injectors out because the 240 needs them back. I want that car running and driving as soon as the rest of my parts get here. A couple other things I took from it: map sensor, kill switch, injectors, front wheels, and a seat. But it was just the passenger seat. So I'm pretty sure that was all I took. So it should be a pretty simple deal to get that car back running and driving tomorrow. Just need to pull these injectors out. That is step one. So let's get to it. Check out these fresh injectors from Boost District. Always nice to have them on board to help me get back on the road with things. And these will be perfect. All right, fuel rail is off. Old injectors are off, sitting here. Ready to put these fresh guys in. Use a little bit of lubricant on them and then just stuff them in place. And then toss this thing back on, button everything back up, and we should be good on that portion of things. Then we can put these back in the 240 because I don't like having a car that's should be running that I just stole parts off of. It's just kind of like a bummer, you know, especially because it's sitting there in the other garage spot. I'd rather not have that in that other garage spot. I'd rather this car, once it's done, take that garage spot, because this car is a street car and that car is not a street car. It could be, but I just don't really care to drive it on the street. This car is actually a street car and I need to shake it down a lot, so I'll probably try to drive it a good amount. I look really burnt too. Also, I'm not getting a haircut, guys. I decided I'm just never getting a haircut again. I'm gonna just grow it out, take the title best hair on YouTube, I don't care if anybody else has it. I'm taking the title. All right, buttoned it back up. Everything's tight and good to go. Should be pretty good now. So now I just have to wait for the transmission and change up the tune a little bit. Talk to Alpha, see if there's anything else I need to change besides just the injectors, and get this thing back on the road as soon as possible. Hopefully by the end of the week, all the cars are running. That's the goal. Well, all the cars that I expect to be running are running. This being one of them. All right, let's do a little oil change on this thing. First oil change since it's been running and driving. So that's nice. Oop. A little fresh oil in here. Not too bad. Probably gotta run out to the store and get some supplies. I don't have any rags, I don't have any oils, brake clean, trans fluid. I need all of it. About to go spend a bunch of money at the old AutoZone or Advanced or Napa or wherever I want to go. All right, well, I'm gonna end it off there as we wait on some transmission parts and whatnot. Car is ready to go back together, just waiting on a couple things. 240 parts should be here tomorrow, so we can have that car back together, and then hopefully by the end of the week have everything running. I don't know, I don't really have any plans for the 240 in the coming future, but it'll do something cool eventually. But that'll do it, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep it saucy. I'll see you next time.